Conventional executive coaching focuses on two dimensions of leadership: performance and psychology. These translate into doing better and feeling better. They can be very effective in their own right, but they can only take you so far and no further. In this video, I'll be explaining the boundaries of this kind of coaching, why we need to move beyond these limits, and how to do it. So let's dig a little deeper into these dimensions of leadership. Firstly, there's performance, which focuses on activity, operations, results, and output. Let's call this the dimension of doing. It's the meetings, the decisions, the hiring and the firing, growth, and of course, the flow of money, hopefully positive, to generate a healthy profit. It's the fundamental part of any form of leadership. Coaching in this dimension focuses on performance, strategy, objectives, all of which are critical to the organization, but not sufficient in themselves. The psychological dimension of leadership is just as important, and without which performance will fail. This is all about feeling good, and it's pretty obvious that you cannot perform well if you're feeling bad. Now, some would say that if you perform well, you'll feel good, and that's certainly true. The problem is that if you rely on your performance to feel good, you'll be at the mercy of circumstances, because however good your performance, it will go up and down. Sometimes things go your way, sometimes they don't. Just ask any football manager. So, coaching in the psychological dimension is aimed at helping you become more resilient, more emotionally intelligent, and more aware of your own behavior. Again, this is critical to good leadership, but it's not sufficient. There is a third dimension of leadership which is almost universally neglected, even though it's more important than psychology and performance. Because, put very simply, without it, you lose sight of who you are and instead believe many things about yourself which are not true. I call this the existential dimension, or the dimension of being. Coaching in this dimension is coaching inside out. So before we get into the details of coaching inside out and why it's the most important dimension of leadership, let's just summarize what we have so far. Firstly, we have performance coaching in the dimension of doing. Then we have psychological coaching in the dimension of feeling. Finally, we have existential coaching in the dimension of being. Doing, feeling, and being. Great. So what do I mean by the dimension of being, and why is it so important to leadership? Well, being is who we are. It's the consciousness that witnesses and observes all experience. It's beyond thinking and feeling. It's beyond mindsets, opinions, and belief systems. Unless we know who we are from moment to moment, we lose ourselves in the sea of experience we call life. Which begs the question, who are we? Well, that's a question that can't be answered. I can't tell you who you are, nor can you tell me. We can only know it. Leaders yearn for transformation. They want to catapult themselves into a brave new world of meaning, value, impact, and fulfilment, and to get away from the old world of effort, conflict, stress, and failure. Most of us spend our lives seeking this holy grail of success without ever really finding it. But there is a way, and in this video I'll be sharing my own realization of what it is and how to achieve it, and how you can do the same. Firstly though, a warning. If you're expecting a get-rich-quick formula, please hit pause now and find another video, because you won't find it here. What you will find is a perspective and an approach that will progressively enable you to feel you are living in tune with yourself, doing what you're meant to be doing regardless of your circumstances. So, firstly, a couple of fundamentals. The first is that every thought has an associated feeling. They are like two sides of the same coin. So if you think you are running out of money, you will feel insecure and vulnerable. If you think about your forthcoming holiday, you will feel excited and energized. The second fundamental is that you can choose what you think. You can choose to think about seeing your best friend tonight, or you can choose to think about missing the train and not getting there. Put those two simple psychological facts together and you end up with the verifiable truth that you can choose how you feel. It all depends on the nature of the thoughts you decide to dwell on or believe. Now, this is critical to our experience of life. The way you feel is not, as we generally believe, a function of events, people and situations, but only a function of how you think, which explains why two people will react to the same circumstances in entirely different ways. This knowledge, which isn't exactly rocket science, will allow you to disconnect how you feel from moment to moment, from the situation you find yourself in at any time in your life. Now, I'm not suggesting that you can turn the experience of, say, terminal cancer into rainbows and unicorns overnight, but as you establish this practice, you can start to build tremendous resilience to events which might otherwise be overwhelming. And I don't mean desensitizing yourself either. In fact, practicing this makes you more sensitive as you become free of the noise of unwanted emotion and leaves you in a better position to deal with adversity. So that's a pretty good start. The next step is to identify your inner sense of purpose and to create a vision that you want to achieve, which is in harmony with that purpose. I've published a few videos on that subject, which you can find in the comments. Now it's time for a metaphysical perspective. You are a non-physical being having a physical experience in the jungles of time and space. The fact you exist now makes you an eternal being. Remember that non-existence cannot exist, by definition. Einstein was fully aware of this when he said that time is a stubbornly persistent illusion. That essential being which is you is not a thought or a feeling, though it experiences them both. It's not your body or your mind, though it inhabits them both. The more you can realize this from moment to moment, the less susceptible you will be to the destabilizing influences you see all around you. The famous question, to be or not to be, relates exactly to the impact that the slings and arrows will have on you. The more you are aligned with your being, the more resilient you will be to the adversities around you. From that perspective, you are able to enjoy an ongoing sense of peace, calm, clarity, and a quiet excitement and exuberance for life, regardless of what it presents to you. That is real success, and with it you realize that you are already wealthy, regardless of your bank balance, already fulfilled, regardless of your relationships, and already healthy, regardless of your ailments. And from that position, you are so much more well placed to gather the abundance, relationships, and health that you prefer to have. So this is the ultimate transformation for all leaders, whether they are leading their lives or a multinational. It is no different. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one.